Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss uh, fourth unit or module you can say, that is ethical practice. So it and that will include ethical decision making, challenges in implementations, prevention of corruption and crime. So these things we will discuss in this video. So, what is ethical practice? Ethical practice refers to the consistent application of moral principles and values such as honesty, fairness, integrity, respect, and responsibility in professional and personal behavior. So, ethical practice, as we have learned earlier about moral principle, values, all those things. So, ethical practice is basically consistent application of those moral principle and the values, the belief system you have that you learn from your upbringing and society. So, how you are implementing that thing or practicing that thing, that is ethical practice. So, it includes honesty, fairness, integrity, respect and responsibility, and that kind of things, that and into professional and the personal level. And we have taken a lot of example in earlier videos. So key feature of ethical practice, guided by values. As we have values are like your belief systems that you have learned, based on that what is right and what is wrong, and you align your things according to that. So decisions and actions are aligned with ethical principles. Accountability, taking responsibility of one's action. Integrity, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Means when to show everyone else you can do a good behavior, but when you are not, nobody is watching you, but you are still following your moral and ethical principles, that is what integrity is. Respect for others, treating everyone with dignity and fairness, you are not discriminating others. Transparency, being open and honest in communication and conduct. So being honest and open in any kind of communication, you are not hiding anything or that kind of thing, that is transparency. In professional setting, following code of conduct, because in like if you are studying in a university, there is a defined code of conduct, what kind of like dress you will wear, what kind of behavior you will show, all those things are uh, ethics at professional act. Maintaining confidentiality and trust. As we have discussed earlier, suppose you are a lawyer or doctor, so you are maintaining the confidentiality of your client. It is not like if someone is telling you and you are telling that thing to everyone, so that is not confidentiality. Avoiding conflict of interest, so we have to take care of everything, so there should not be any conflict of interest between you and your client. Suppose you are a lawyer and you are taking money from the opposition party, so it is a conflict of interest. You are fighting a case of someone else, but you are taking money from someone, so you have to follow that person. Like, so that is the problem. So making fair and unbiased decisions. So try to, because as a human, we are tend to bias, so we have to, if we follow these kind of ethical practices, then there is a less chances of follow being biased. Examples we will take few, like in psychology, education and healthcare, like ensuring informed consent. Have you seen, like when you are going for some operation and all, so what the doctor do? They just inform you, okay, these are the risk factors involved in this surgery and all, and they take your sign. So that is informed consent. Means they are telling everything. What is the side effect? What can happen to you? All those things they are informing you, and then your decision will be, you will participate in that surgery or not. And then respecting client's autonomy, means you are giving the information, but it is the decision of the client. He will take, like he will go through that surgery or not. You will not decide for them. Maintaining professional boundaries, like sometime when you, or like maybe in psychology or education or in healthcare, when you deal with someone, so they get emotionally attached to you, and sometimes they may offer something or other to you, so that is not a professional thing. You, if you are providing any service, yeah, and you are taking money for that, you have to maintain that. You will not from professional, sometimes people go into the personal life. That should not be there. And now the next thing is like ethical decision making. What is this? So we have understood what is ethical practice, and now we are going to discuss ethical decision making. Decision making is the process of choosing actions that are morally right, fair, responsible. It involves evaluating different options based on the ethical principles and potential impact on others. So ethical decision making means when you are taking any decision, so is it right or fair? For example, if you are going for a surgery of the client, um, then you will like explore, is the like, this surgery is necessary? Can we go without, like, can we treat the client without doing surgery? Because surgery is the last option. So, uh, every these kind of questions we ask ourselves whenever we take any kind of decision, not only in medical field, in any field. It involves evaluating different options, ethical principles, and potential impact on. So, what is will be the impact of this thing on the client? So, based on that, like we take decisions. So that is ethical decision making. That is backed by your value system and your moral values, everything. So why it is important? Ensures integrity and trust in the personal and professional life. Because integrity means like you are guided by those principles that you have learned or that is good for overall society. Help to resolve the conflict of interest and moral dilemmas, like we have to like takes that decision or not. So that will be backed by your value system, and that will really that will resolve the conflict. Suppose you know that fighting with others is not an option, right? But if someone is attacking you and they are not able to understand, then fighting becomes important for you. So you, when you have tried everything and then you started fighting, then there will be no conflict. Like if we talk about Mahabharat, and then you will see that like Krishna has tried everything to uh, like avoid the war, but Kauravas were not interested in giving even um, 5 villages to the uh, Pandavas. So then they ultimately they have decided to fight. So that is the last resort. So and then you are doing the war. So then there will be less conflict, or you will not have that kind of conflict. Support accountability and social responsibility. It makes you responsible and accountable. You are doing it for the society and for the betterment of the people. Promotes fairness and justice, respect of human dignity. So you are respecting the human, and it promotes fairness, justice, everything. So now the next step is like steps in ethical decision making that we will discuss. The first thing is identify the ethical issues. What is the moral dilemma or problem? So what is the problem that you have to identify? Gather relevant, understand the perspectives of stakeholders and consequences. If you will take this decision, what will happen to all the parties involved in that, or society, or whatever the parties are, and evaluate the alternative and what you can do. है ना? Like based on ethical framework. What is the ethical framework? Like utilitarianism and deontology, virtue ethics means ये सबके लिए beneficial है या नहीं है इसका, and what is the impact of that, how it will benefit the people, all those things you ask yourself. So identifying the problem and gathering the relevant information, and then evaluating the alternatives. So what are the alternatives we have uh, to resolve this thing? Steps in ethical decision making में जो next step है, that is make decision. When you have options, then you have to choose one option. So that is decision making. Choose the option that align best with the ethical values of the standards. So which is best possible solution that you like choose, that is decision making. Implement the decision, take action with honesty and responsibility. When you have taken the decision, now it is a time to implement. thing, and then reflect on the outcome. Then you check what are the outcomes related to that, and what will be your future, and what you have learned, and how you will use it in future. So these are the steps involved in ethical decision making. Now we are understanding like these type of जो frameworks and models हैं to take ethical decisions. Like one is utilitarianism, means maximize overall good or minimize harm. So what the is the decision which will benefit most of the people, that is this model. And then deont deontology, follow moral duties and rules, means what is the right and wrong that we have to follow. Then virtue ethics, and act according to moral character, like honesty, compassion. So whatever is happening, you are guided by your own moral character. That is another model. Right ways, protect the rights of all individual involved. So in like right ways means like education, right to education, right to all these things, that right to speech, all those things that is involved in our constitutions, right? So they are based on overall rights of the people. So that is another model to take decisions. So these are the few models that we use in decision making. In practice, if we see the example, so a psychologist deciding whether to break the confidentiality to prevent the harm, means usually in 99% of the things psychologists like they practice confidentiality. Suppose you are going to them and discussing some personal thing to them, they will not discuss with others, right? But there are few things, like if there is a case of homicide or suicide, like if you are revealing that you are going to kill someone or you are going to commit suicide, in that case that confidentiality rule will not work. So there the person will the greater responsibility is to save the person or to save the other person whom that person wants to kill. So that kind of in that case the confidentiality, as a psychologist, we break. A business choosing between profit and fair labor practices, like when you are providing service like um, many services to your labor or your employees, then definitely your profit will decrease, right? uh, but the ethical thing is you choose both the things. That is why there are some legal uh, practices also that tell, or models also that provides that if you will take care of your client, uh, you should take care of your client. So like taking care of their insurances, medicals and all, and is involved in that cost to the company, but like that is a good labor or fair labor practice. So a teacher addressing unfair grading or discrimination. If teacher becomes biased, suppose someone's daughter is like studying in the same college or university, and the person is getting biased, giving them like important questions or asking examiners to give more numbers, and also that is becoming biased. So that is unfair, unethical practice. Challenges in its implementation. What kind of challenges we like have in this kind of practices? So implementing ethical practices is real life situation is often complex, difficult. Despite having clear ethical principle or code of conduct, individuals and organizations face several obstacles when trying to apply them consistently. So being right, being ethical be becomes difficult most of the time, not most of the time but many times in like in real life. So like if you want to be very because you are also a human being, and when you want to be more ethical and also you will face lot of problem. Major challenges in implementations, there are conflict of interest. What kind of challenges you may face? Conflict of interest, like personal gains and pressure may clash with ethical responsibilities. So when you are becoming like you may get lot of pressure. Suppose as I said in earlier example, you are teaching in a university setup, and there is a colleague that is uh, the and he has a daughter who is studying in that university, and that person is forcing you to give some important question or tell them what kind of paper they like you are creating, or so that kind of things you are doing. So that becomes very challenging for you and conflicting also. Example, choosing between reporting a friend misconduct or protecting the relationship. So you have a good relationship with that person and you want to report that to higher authorities, but uh, if you will report, your relationship will with that person will like on a stake. So lack of ethical awareness, many individuals are not trained in recognize the ethical issues, and there are many people that even don't know there is a ethical issues. Ambiguity is what is right or wrong lead to a poor decision making. If you don't know what is right and what is wrong, then that also creates a problem for you. That is ambiguity. And then cultural and social differences, what is considered ethical can vary across the culture and communities. So community to community, this is that can differ. Global organization struggles with applying uniform ethical standard. That is why there is no uniform ethical like practices involved. I will give you one example for that thing from India only. Uttarakhand up like they have started or they have implemented uniform civil code in Uttarakhand, and in that and there are other rules and regulations for there. So in case suppose you um, if you cannot live together like male and female without marrying or without registering oneself. If you are in a live-in relationship, you have to inform. But there were some tribes, they have different culture, so for them they have like excluded them. These rules will not apply to them because they have a strong cultural background regarding to that, so that or their own practices, so they cannot apply that thing on those people. So that is what like uniformity cannot be there. Organizational pressure to meet targets, profit deadlines can lead to unethical shortcuts. Like if it happens in many corporates, like they pressurize you to complete the objective or whatever target has been given to you, and in that context, if you will follow the ethical practices, you are following the ethical practices, it will be very difficult for you to achieve that target. Unethical behavior may be tolerated or even rewarded, and sometime unethical behavior may be rewarded also. Suppose you are a manager in a company and you are giving good productivity and following unethical practices. So maybe there are companies, they will reward you because you are giving profit to that company. Other is fear of retaliation. Employees may hesitate to report wrongdoing due to the fear of punishment and isolation. So that also happens. If you are saying something regarding your manager, so you may be punished. Ambiguity in laws and practice, vague and outdated regulation make it hard to judge what is ethical. Gray areas in professional codes of conduct add to confusion. So whatever like ethical practices you follow or you write, so there may be some or other loopholes. There may be some vagueness. So people take a benefit out of that. Weak leadership and role models. If leaders themselves act unethically, others are less likely to follow ethical practices. So that is the rule. If your leader is not following the rules, you will not follow because now you are free to do whatever you want to do. Corruption and favoritism. Existing corrupt practices and favoritism discourages ethical behavior. Suppose you are working in an organization and the head that you have, they are biased, that he or she is biased towards some people, so that will create dissatisfaction in others, and that will create a long term problems for that person and for the employees also. Lack of transparency in system promotes unethical decisions, so you get unethical decisions if there is no transparency in that. Impact of these challenges: erosion of trust with organization and society. So if they are not following proper practices, so trust will erode. That will get finished. Either the person or society. Suppose you are a leader, you are biased, then trust and everything will go down. Legal consequences and reputational damage, and your reputation will damage. There may be, if some major thing happens, there may be some legal consequences also, decline in moral and productivity. So, and that will decline the moral of like employees. Suppose there is a head of the department who is biased, so other people who are like able to do something or do, and they are seeing that there is a bias regarding few people, then that person will not work. That will affect your productivity. Inequality and injustice, and that is also there. When you are biased, there naturally there you will be treating people inequally, and there will be injustice. So these are the like challenges that we face. How we can overcome from these challenges, that is a different story. Like ethics training and education, like we have to train those people. Clear and enforceable codes of conduct, we have to make the very clear operational code of conduct. Encouraging open dialogues and ethical reflection, and we have to discuss and do open discussion with others, then only you will create transparency. A strong ethical leadership and support system, and if you have a strong leadership who is following the ethical standards, you will also follow them because they will work as a model. Protecting whistleblowers and rewarding integrity. If someone is telling someone and you are protecting that person. So if someone is coming to you that person is not working, or this is the, and this is these things are happening there, then instead of, most of them it happens, they usually like suppress that kind of voices. But if you will take care of those things, those people, then there will be more ethical practices in your organization. Prevention of corruption and crime, that is another topic that we are going to discuss. uh, like corruption and crime undermine trust, development, and the rule of law. Prevention requires multi-level strategies involving individual institutions and society at large. So corruption, what happens? Corruption creates mistrust, and that affect the development, and that affect the implementation of rule and law. So preventions of corruption requires multi-level, you can say, assessment as well as intervention. Means like at individual level, at institutions level, and at society level. In individual level means, suppose you are a person and you are ready to give bribe, so no, like who will stop you? And then institution level, there are institution, there is a practice to take bribe, so you will not correct them, they will ask to everyone to give the bribe. And the society level, like we have to educate the society, it is not right, you should not give or take the bribe. So, causes of corruption and crime, greed and materialism, because nowadays we are becoming more materialistic and greedy. So, whatever you are earning, you are not satisfied with that, and you want to earn more money. Maybe you, like doing unethical practices. Lack of accountability. If you are not held accountable for in these kind of things, then also there is will be no fear, and you will take bribe or any that kind of things. Weak law enforcement. If people are not getting punished for that, then also it will increase. Poor governance and political interference. The politician and governance, they are also involved in that, then also it will not get finished, and it will affect social inequality and unemployment. If there is a social inequality, like there are people who are very rich, there are people who don't have even money to eat food. So if that discrepancy will increase, there will be a crime. And unemployment, if there will be unemployment, that also will create a problem. Absence of ethical values and role models. If there is a no role models and ethical practices, then it is common. So these are the causes of corruption and crime. So, understanding corruption and crime, corruption is misuse of power, personal and organizational gain. Yani corruption क्या है? You are using your power uh, for personal and organizational gain. When you have seen, like there are a lot of, many times you will see the politician or like blaming others, ki this party is involved with that company and this company. So all these things are corruption because the power is used by those people. Crime, any act that violates the legal code and harms individual or society, like theft, fraud, and violence. So if that thing is happening while if you're violating any kind of legal thing, that is we call it crime. Causes of corruption and crime: greed and materialism. We have already discussed these things, lack of accountability, weak law enforcement, governance and political interference, social inequality and unemployment, absence of ethical values and role models. That we have all these things we have already discussed. Strategies for prevention: how we can prevent like these kind of um things. So first thing is strengthening institutions, ensuring transparency in government and public services. Like this happens, like direct benefit transfer. Earlier, like like money was given, like because we are social welfare state, so government gives certain kind of pensions and money to people. uh, so initially there is a lot of problem in that because the people who are in between, they were taken all the money, and now government has done what has they have done with the technology. They are transferring all the money or any kind of benefit directly to the person. So would that leakage that has happened earlier was stopped. So that government tries to like increase the transparency. Use of technology and e-governance, that also I have already told you, and the conduct of regular audit and monitoring. When it is monitored and audit is done, then it stops the or prevent the corruption and crime. Legal and policy measures: enforce anti-corruption and criminal law strictly. So we have to implement that. If you're not implementing, then there will be no fear and the people will get involved in that. Establish independent and anti-corruption bodies. And so independent anti-corruption bodies means they can go and check. Swift and fair punishment immediately. Suppose uh, through any kind of unethical activity you are earning 1 crore rupees, and when law is enforced and police is behind you, and you are going giving 25 lakhs rupees and you are getting out of that things, so it will not work because you are, it is a kind of business because you are earning, you are spending 25 lakhs and earning 75 lakhs. So what is the problem in that? So strong policies must be there. Education and awareness: promote the value education in schools to college, because as I said, the value and ethical things that comes from the upbringing. If you will promote those things in the school, people or will be more and more like responsible. Conduct ethics workshop for the professionals. Community awareness programs on right and non responsibility. So we have to work on multiple level: law, education, implementation, all those things. Whistleblower protection, as I told you, if you are telling something and we have like if you are uh, like a whistleblower, like telling that something is happening wrong and the other person is very strong, they may harm you, and that happened in like past in many countries. So there must be a proper protection of whistleblower to protect informants from retaliation. Set up an anonymous complaint mechanism. Matlab, someone is if someone complained, so that should be anonymous. So people will not get to know who has done this. Tell the truth. So that is about protecting the whistleblower. That is very important. Role of civil society and media: encourage investigation, investigative journalism. NGO and citizens can monitor public services. उनको इन्वॉल्व करना चाहिए. Neighborhood watch group, like you have to have people who can watch everything is happening right or not. Role of individuals, like refuse to give or take bribes, already discussed. Practice honesty in personal and professional life. Report unethical practices. Be a role model for ethical behavior. But it is not that much easy that we think. It is very difficult and conflicting. So And if you don't have good moral and ethical values, then it will be difficult for us. So preventing corruption and crime is a collective responsibility. As we said, it is not a one layered thing, it is a multi layered thing. Strong laws, ethical leadership, informed and empowered citizens is required for prevention of corruption. A just, fair, and safe society begins with integrity at every level. So, it is a like thing that we should target for. It takes time, but we can achieve it. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you liked it and it will help you in your exams. And if you liked, then just like, subscribe, and share these videos with others.